So let us go one by one, Khyati. You were right. Visa filing process is now it's getting interesting, right? Can you also show us an example of what that does look like? Because that can be something that people can get scammed with. So right. So can you please show us? And guys, don't worry. We are going to be sharing the entire checklist. But as Khyati is saying, the most important point is hello everyone. Welcome to Study Abroad with Piyush. And today we are going to be talking about your Ireland student visa. So this is a very important video friends because Ireland visa पे बहुत सारे लोगों ने content नहीं बनाया हुआ है and today we have Khyati with us who is a visa expert at our company and she is going to break down the entire Ireland student visa process step by step so that all of you can understand how to go about it and you don't make any mistakes in this process. So guys, welcome Khyati to our channel and let's get diving into Ireland student visa.
Thanks for the invite. Yeah, well, talking about the Ireland visa, so the simpler it looks, it's not as simple like that. So if we say in one word, so Ireland is all about the finances and the sponsors that you're having. So basically you should have strong finances and strong sponsors.
So basically it is mostly about showing your financial capability and how you are going to cover your cost of tuition and your living expenses, right? So, but let's break down the overall process into stages. What I understand is that you need to have your unconditional offer letter. So you might start with a conditional offer or you might get an unconditional directly. So once you have that offer letter, that is where your journey for visa will start. From that, you need to get your letter of acceptance, which is similar to CAS or an I-20. It is the official offer letter which is submitted to the embassy. So that's the LOA, the letter of acceptance is what the next step is. And then you move on to filing your visa and then your VFS appointment. So that's the full journey that we are going to be talking about today. So Khyati, tell us about, what kind of conditions typically that come in a conditional offer letter. So that the student can get an unconditional offer letter.
Okay, so talking about the conditions, it can be academic condition or a financial condition. So talking about the academic condition, it can be any mark sheets or any degrees that are pending, or a university can even ask for a revised personal statement of purpose. And in the financial condition, they can ask for a certain amount of deposit. Like it's generally a short deposit, like around 500 or 1,000 euros.
So it's a small deposit, 500 to 1,000 euros that they need to pay. And once they clear these conditions, they will get an unconditional offer letter.
Right.
So on the unconditional offer letter, one more question is there. Is there a timeline that you get to pay this deposit? That when the when you are getting a conditional offer letter?
Yeah. So Ireland universities are typically strict with that. So it's advised to make your deposit and confirm your seat within a month of receiving the offer.
The deadline might be longer, but I actually advise our students to do it within a week. Because if you have made up your mind, block that seat because Ireland has few universities. Now, last year, 40,000 students from India went to Ireland. So it's growing rapidly. So try to finalize your university quickly, make the deposit and get your unconditional offer letter. So that is great. So now our students have their unconditional offer. What is the next step? What will you take for them to get their letter of acceptance?
So again, finances here plays an important role. So in Ireland, there's a catch that if your tuition fees is 6,000 or less than 6,000 euros, then you have to pay the entire fees. This is for the masters that we're talking.
Which is I don't think our students go to those schools.
Yeah. And in case the fees are higher than 6,000, so it's advised to pay a minimum of 6,000, but to all our students, we advise to pay at least 50% of their fees.
So your advisory is pay 6,000 or 50% of 1 year tuition fee, whichever is more.
Right.
And what is the scenario if students are going for an undergraduate program?
So when going for an undergrad, so 1 year of fees has to be paid mandatorily.
One year of full fees has to be paid mandatorily. So once you pay this fee to the university, you will receive your LOA, the letter of acceptance. Also for our students, can you just give us an example and just take us through this whole journey? Give us an example of like a conditional offer and then how it turned into an unconditional offer.
Sure.
So thank you, Khyati, for sharing this information with us. I think it's really powerful for our students to understand visually what those documents look like. So once you have your letter of acceptance, then we are ready for our visa process, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly do we have to do now?
Okay, so the journey from LOA to visa, it's quite long, to be very honest. So here there's an entire checklist that we need to follow, starting with the visa forms and everything. But before we step into the visa forms, we need to first be sure with the finances that how we are sponsoring for the rest of the fees and the living. So living, we consider it to be 12,000 euros.
12,000 euros,
Yeah.
yes.
Ideally, there is a breakup that for the universities inside Dublin, we take it to be 12,000, and outside Dublin, we take it to be 10,000 euros.
Okay.
But again, we advise a student that they
To
should
consider
go
it
with
for 12,000 euros.
Yes,
only.
yes.
And guys, don't worry, we're going to be sharing the entire checklist. But as Khyati is saying, the most important point is understanding our finances. So
Right.
let's go deep into that, and then we'll come to the overall checklist as well. One main point is your typically all master's programs are 1 year, so it will be like 1 year tuition fee.
Yes.
Your 1 year of living expenses, which is 12,000 euros
Yeah.
for within Dublin, and 10,000 euros from outside Dublin. But we are recommending to take 12,000 euros plus 1 year tuition fees is what we need to show the financials for.
Right.
Great.
So if we talk about the acceptable finances, so in Ireland, it's quite flexible. Every finance that you can show a proof of, so you can show that fund. Let's avoid mutual funds, gold loans, FD loans. We generally avoid them. So it should be either an education loan, which can be a secured or unsecured. But generally, if we talk about the breakup, so we advise that it should be 50-50%, that 50% of the funding. Let's say the living and the outstanding tuition fees is coming to be around, let's say 25 lakhs. So it should be a equal breakup, that partial we are showing through an education loan and partial we have savings for that.
Okay, so it's not that we should not think in terms of that we are having a loan for the entire amount.
Right.
So just to again put it in perspective. So we are saying we should use savings, FDs,
Yes.
and education loan.
Right.
Like you mentioned, it is still more flexible. What other kind of source of funds do students actually use?
So talking about the other sources of funds, it's generally into the savings only. So students may have, like, they have received huge amounts of money. They have recently sell a property, or let's say they have recently got some money from any business or something. So we need to show a in and out statement and proof of that, provided that the Ireland embassy has a proof, okay, where this money has come
So
from.
you are saying that money should be there in savings.
Yes.
So either you sold off your mutual funds and the money came in, so you can show your redemption receipts of the
Yeah.
mutual funds. So basically we'll have to also show source of funds.
Right.
How did we get that money in our savings account if there are large transactions?
Definitely.
Understood. And who all can be sponsors for Ireland visa?
Okay, so first of all, the most safe sponsors includes parents. Okay,
Right.
but in some certain situations, we don't have parents as a sponsor. So close blood relatives, we take them as a sponsor.
So brother, sister.
Yeah, yeah. And if we talk about the relatives, so we try to have paternal relatives to be more preferred instead of maternal relatives.
So paternal relatives could be grandparents,
Yeah.
could be maternal uncle, aunt,
Yeah,
Chacha ji, Tau ji.
Yeah, yeah.
They can also be sponsors.
Yes.
Understood.
Ireland is again totally subjective, and it's all about how strengthful your financial profile is.
Let's say total funds to be shown is 25 lakhs, show 12.5 lakhs with savings and FDs, and 12.5 lakhs with education loan. Your savings, the source of funds, if there's a large transaction like 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs happening, then we need to maybe show source of funds of how that money
Right,
came in.
right.
Is there also like an aging of funds, maturity of funds, like UK has 28 days? Is there something like that in Ireland?
Yeah, so there are certain cases where they are asked for 6 months of bank statements. So in every case, we show 6 months of bank statements. The best possible situation is that you keep your funds mature for 6 months till you file your visa. In case you're not able to mature it for 6 months, so again, any transaction that is a bulk deposit above, let's say 50,000, so you need to have a source of that where has that money been credited from.
So when you are filing visas for your students, you will put a narrative of every transaction more than 50,000 rupees.
Right.
That why did this, from where is this money coming in?
Yes.
That makes things a little bit tricky, right?
Yeah.
Does it create any complication if the parents have agricultural income? Is that an issue?
It comes in ITRs. So ITRs, by ITRs I mean the income proof. So
Right.
when we are, let's say I'm saying that my father is sponsoring me. So I need to show his income proof. That what is the income proof? And for income proof, I need to show ITRs along with computation. So let's say he's working in an agriculture.
Right.
So there is an agriculture income certificate
Right.
that we appoint to any person who is into agricultural income. So if not ITR, then an agricultural income certificate will be sufficient.
So agricultural income is not a problem, that
No.
can be there. Your proof of funds anyways, if the money is in your account, then that can be
Yeah.
there. Any other nuances you think we need to consider while we are planning for our finances?
Yeah, definitely there is a document that is not mandatory, but I personally advise to all my students, which is a CA valuation report.
Okay.
So there are two agendas behind a CA.
It's kind of like a net worth certificate.
Yeah. So it's basically there are two agendas. First, if let's say you show that you have a CA valuation, a net worth value of let's say 2 crores. So it shows that the student has particularly a lot many assets here
Right.
in India. So they don't have any agenda to stay there in Ireland and work over there. So they'll come back to India. And the second agenda is let's say student falls short of funds in there in Ireland. So they have certain things.
They have a strong
Yeah.
backup.
Yeah.
Can you also show us a sample of the CA certificate?
Sure. Sure. Okay, so this is a CA valuation report, basically the net value certificate. So here we have disclosed for the student like how much immovable properties, movable properties, and the supporting personal and family funds, or if any liabilities, including an education loan. So this is a sample of it. So first, the student has provided details of the immovable properties, making a total value of somewhere around 5 crores. Then movable properties, a valuation of around 10,80,000. So in this way, they have disclosed all their movable and immovable assets and having a total worth of around 6 crores 29 lakhs.
Fantastic. So I think that is pretty powerful, and to understand the entire, how do you finance your Ireland student visa? Tell us what all forms we need to fill, and just from there we'll try to get into the document checklist as well.
Okay. Before we step into forms, again, like all other countries, so here there's a medical insurance also.
Okay.
So for all the European countries, the medical insurance, it has to be a minimum of 30,000 euros, the coverage.
Okay.
And the best service provider is Study and Protect, that we should take because it's accepted all over the Ireland. So first thing, and talking about the forms, so there are multiple forms. The visa form in Ireland is known as Aviate's form. And once we fill that form, we can simply go onto the VFS site and book our appointment. And if I talk about the site forms, so there are like 3 to 4 forms, including your check and verify, financial summary, and like the way I mentioned, bulk deposits. So we need to list all the bulk deposits at one place. So that's another form.
So let us go one by one, Khyati. You were right. Visa filing process is now it's getting interesting, right? So for all our viewers who are still watching, guys, make sure you watch this video till the end, because now is one of the most intricate and the important part of the entire Ireland visa process. So Khyati, let's start with the health insurance part. Can you show what the health insurance document looks like and how much does it cost?
Okay. So this is a sample of a medical health insurance that student has taken from Study and Protect. We have to take a minimum coverage of 30,000 euros. It costs around an INR approximately max to max 15 to 18,000.
Fantastic. So Aviate is the first form that a student will have to create on the website, on the visa website. We'll put the link in the descriptions for our students to actually go and look at it.
Okay, so this is the link for the Aviate's form. So here you can simply log in and go on continue. Then simply declare that a simple acknowledgement. Then from here you can start your Aviate's form. So they will ask a couple of details. So it's a lengthy form, so you can take your time and fill it. And then later you will get an IRL number which you can use to book your slot.
Thanks again, Khyati. So what is the next step now after Aviate?
Okay, so once you fill in your Aviate, you get an IRL number. Using that IRL number, we go to the VFS Ireland site and we book an appointment.
Okay, so we have with the IRL number, which is our unique ID,
Right.
which we will use to book our VFS appointment on the Ireland VFS website.
Right. And the forms that I mentioned, so one is a financial summary form in which we declare all our finances, that how we have, let's say I told you that we have to pay 50% of the fees. So there's another catch. It's not like a case that student can get the money from anywhere and pay that fees, and they will not ask source, but they will. So we have to show source of the money payment made also.
Okay.
And the rest remaining fees and the living, how we are showing, so that has to be declared in that form.
Wow, that is very different from how UK operates,
Yes,
right? So,
yes.
so that's a very important point to note, guys. This whole financial summary form, can you also show us an example of what that form looks like, and if you can show us an example of how to fill it?
Sure. So this is a financial summary form for all study visa applications. Again, here you need to carefully fill all the details, including your Aviate's number, middle name, first name, then the applicant declaration. This form is basically to declare how you are planning your funding. So first you need to tell what's your course fees, then your cost of living expenses. Then again you need to tell, okay, so how much immediate excess funds you have for year 1, then the declared finances for year 1, and the total funding that is available in your account. So this form is basically your description of how you are funding for your course.
Brilliant. So now we have the financial summary form as well. What else do we need to do?
Okay, another form is a check and verify form. So this was earlier a optional service, but now we have made it a mandatory service. So it's basically that the sponsors that we are giving and the bank accounts that we are giving. So the Ireland embassy, they confirm, they log into the bank details and they log into the statements and issue that. So they just need to check, because there have been certain cases from high risk areas where people have forged with the statements.
Right.
So they have to be extra sure. So this is a check and verify service where we provide all the ITR details, bank logins and everything to the government.
Wow, so we are providing our own saving bank's login details.
Yeah, it's basically a link that will come like in a week after you give your appointment. But yes, here the account number and everything, IFSC has to be provided.
IFSC has to be provided. So that's where, but that is being provided directly to the Irish embassy.
Right.
And they are going to be making that verification.
Yeah.
Can you also show us an example of what that does look like? Because that can be something that, people can get scammed with. So, right? So can you please show us?
Okay, so this is a check and verify form. So it has many sections, including personal details. So the details have to be as per the passport. Then immediate family member details. You have to carefully fill all the details here. Then the third section, if you have any sponsor from Ireland. Fourth, the education qualifications. So you need to make sure that the details are as per the Aviate's form. Then the fifth, employment history. Sixth, any current employment. And this is the seventh section, which is the main sponsor section. So here you need to disclose who all are sponsoring for your studies.
So great. Wow, this is like, great information. And I think we all need to be super aware of this while we are going through this process. So once we have this whole documentation done, what happens next?
Okay, so there's a whole lot of checklist that I'll share it with you. So you can prepare that checklist with the student. And once we have all the documents and all the financials and everything, then we again take that Aviate's form and we book our appointment. And at the biometrics, we have to carry all the sets of original documents and a photocopy. And then just simply give a biometrics and wait for the visa to come.
So guys, this we are just displaying here the list of documents that you will need at the time of booking your VFS appointment, and all these documents you will need to carry a copy of that and original for your VFS appointment as well. So guys, make sure you are carrying these documents and as what is being displayed here on the screen. Just tell us a little bit about what is the visa fee, if there is any VFS charges. So how much does it cost?
Okay, so the visa that we are going for, first of all, it's a long-term visa, so it's more than 90 days, and it's a multi-entry visa. So a multi-entry visa fee is 100 euros, which in INR will cost around 9,000 rupees.
Right.
And the services and the VFS charges and all, so lump sum it goes around 18,000 INR, so pretty cheap as compared to other countries. So in 18,000 you get your appointment and you go for your appointment.
Right. So 18,000 is that 9,000 of fees included in the 18,000,
yes,
right? So
yes.
about 9,000 for VFS, all their scanning charges, courier, SMS services,
yes.
everything would be included.
Yeah.
It's advised that you take all the services, then you're bound to not go wrong at all. Is there any specific thing that happens at the VFS when you're going for an appointment?
No, it's pretty same like other countries. You just have to give your biometrics.
Right.
And we missed out one thing, which is a SOP. So
right.
SOP is very crucial for Ireland. So in SOP, you have to be very clear about what's the purpose of visiting Ireland and why this university. Talk about the course and mainly about your goals, like how the learning outcomes of the course are aligned with your goals. So SOP is very crucial for Ireland visa.
Right. So SOP is crucial. I think SOP is crucial in most countries as well,
Yeah.
because it ties your entire documentation in one place. Do you also specifically talk about how you are going to finance your education in the SOP?
Yes, so we talk about everything: academic, financial, goals, immigration, each and every point we cover.
So all of those things also need to be covered in the SOP, which is an important document when you are going to be applying for the visa.
Yes.
Right, and that's part of the document checklist which we are talking about here. Brilliant. So let's also try to decompose the timeline from the time you have your unconditional offer letter and you make your payments. How much time does it take to get your LOA? And once you have your LOA, how much time would it take for you to sort of file your visa and get your VFS biometrics done? And then from that time, how much time does it take to get the visa actually?
Okay, so talking about unconditional to LOA, it totally depends on us. Like the moment we are paying the fees, so university issues out you the LOA, like you can take max 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah. Minimum they can go a week also.
So 1 week to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's important. It's not that you paid the money and next day you'll get your LOA.
Yeah,
It can take up to 3 weeks. Some of the higher ranked university like UCD, TCD usually take that much amount of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And after LOA to visa, again, it depends on us, like how much time we are taking. So it's pretty easy. Like the moment, let's say I get a LOA today, so if I have all the documents ready, so I can proceed for my visa anytime.
Right. So make sure that while you are waiting for your LOA, you are making sure all your other documentation is ready. So are VFS appointments easy to get, or there is a long queue for that?
At the peak hours, if I talk about like within 60 days of the course start date, 2 months prior, generally people struggle with finding the slots.
So you're saying like mid-July, it will start becoming
Yes,
crowded.
yes, yes.
Right. So if you guys are watching this video now in May, make sure you are proactive and doing this process fast so that you don't get lost in that long queue.
Yes.
And then from your biometric, how much time does the embassy typically take?
Generally in the books, it's written 40 working days.
40 working days.
Yeah.
So guys, again, important. Don't think of it as 40 days. Add, at least 40% more time to it.
Yeah.
So because that makes it around 60 days. And 40 working days. They work for 5 days a week. So if you're filing in the last 2 months, you're going to be like neck and neck.
Yeah. And typically for top universities like TCD, UCD, or let's say Limerick, Galway, so we hear for the decisions pretty early.
Okay.
But again, we have to go by the timelines provided by them. So we have typically seen results coming in a week also.
Okay.
But again, you should have a.
So don't worry, if you're going for good schools, which you should, your decisions can actually come much faster than 40 working days. So,
Yes.
so that's a great thing for us all to know. Anything else? Any wrapping comments from your side, Khyati? What our students should know, take care of, or be mindful of when they are going for their Irish student visa?
Okay, so first thing, choose your university wisely.
Absolutely.
And the second, be very particular about the course that you're going for, because sometimes VFS or the embassy do call students for interviews. So you have to be very sure. And third and last, about the finances that I mentioned. Finances and sponsors have to be extremely strong for you to easily reach there.
Right, so do discuss that with your counselors, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and I would like to answer them for you. If you have any queries regarding selection of Ireland universities, do put that in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this session. You are now fully prepared for filing your Irish student visa. And if you like this, then do subscribe to our channel and make sure you share it with all your friends who are looking to go to Ireland. So thank you, Khyati. Thank you for today. And we'll see you all on Study Abroad with Piyush in the next video.